2.
And welcome everyone to Inside the Insane Game Studio. We got Mike, Dave, and myself, and Tyler down in Tampa, Florida. It is February 13th, 2018. It's Behind the Counter, the wettest and critically acclaimed podcast right here in the Insane Game Studio in Saratoga Springs, New York. We got a lot of stuff to go over. We got a lot of NFL to go over. Oh, wait. Not that much because the season's over with now. But we're still going to find some NFL to talk about.
Football continues to be the sports news talk.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us live, we're on Twitch at Insane Video Games. We're also on Facebook Live at Insane Games NY. Make sure you can watch our full episodes on YouTube starting tomorrow if you want to go back and watch us. So, what do we got? We got a little, now that the NFL season's over, a lot of headlines over the last couple weeks, or couple days, I mean. We have Kyler Murray, we have Joe Flacco, we have Kareem Hunt, so we got a lot of little stuff. Tyler, do you have 2 minutes or no?
I suppose.
Let's cue Tyler's 2 minutes.
As is tradition.
We'll just go through them one by one.
Wait a second, Tyler. As is tradition, right before you start, Flacco going to the Jets. You heard it here first.
He's already moved.
Nope.
So speaking of Joe Flacco, Horsemouth John Elway traded Joe Flacco traded for Joe Flacco from the Ravens to the Broncos.
What did he get? A piece of broken furniture and an MVP like Subway card?
I don't think they know yet what he got.
They can't discuss who got traded until March 13th when the new NFL year kicks off. So there was agreement intact. Joe Flacco to the Broncos. That's all I can tell you at this point.
Wasn't it a 4th round pick? Or?
I think they said a mid-round pick.
Nor deny that.
However you want to declare that, a mid-round pick. But yeah, like Tyler said, they can't discuss it until March 3rd?
March 13th.
I guess it could
13th.
Still happen if it's
Flacco's going to the Jets.
Don't
worry about it.
Dave isn't, he could possibly be somewhat right, but I got to imagine, I believe Adam Schefter when he says they're going to, he's going to be heading over
Dan,
to.
you were very disturbed with how the Broncos traded for them. What was your thoughts on that?
I just think, if I'm John Elway, if I'm the owner of the Broncos, I know John Elway has a lot of history, and I don't think he's getting fired right away for a job performance. But the one thing that he's been bad at, I think he has a lot in the can to keep him going for a while. He can make a few mistakes, but how many more mistakes can you make with the quarterback position? Ever since Peyton Manning, you haven't had, not to mention the ones that you've missed out on. The ones that you've picked that aren't good. And when you look at Keenum and you look at Flacco, they're the same person. It's just Keenum's what? Maybe 6-7 years younger than Joe Flacco?
That's a stretch.
Doesn't have a Super Bowl MVP, by the way.
How younger is he? Joe Flacco's 34.
Yeah, but they're not the same person. Joe Flacco's way better than Case Keenum.
Really? What's on his stats?
Super Bowl.
Joe
Flacco is ranked 34th
knows how
out
to
of
play in the
quarterbacks.
playoffs. Case Keenum is just trash.
Touchdown to interception ratio, he's
awful.
ranked 34th. That's awful.
Joe Flacco's 34 years old. Case Keenum is 30 years old. But he's turning 31. So
You were close-ish. I will say, there's nothing I love more than watching John Elway on the sidelines, and Mike makes the same face John Elway does when you know that, a player's not staying. Like, any clip of Tim Tebow where Elway's in the background, he's making the like, nope, you will never have my love.
I guess you can make the argument that if their goal was to win with their defense, because I actually think that's probably a legitimate argument, that they feel like they could win the Super Bowl with just their defense alone. That just picking up an average quarterback by not giving them a lot could possibly do it.
Average? Now, sir, you're forgetting.
Below average.
Flacco's
if you want to be
Flacco.
honest, Joe Flacco, and I've been saying it, if you guys don't know, I've been saying Joe Flacco's got to go. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan, and I've said that if he wants to keep his career in Baltimore, he's got to get away from Joe Flacco. It's killing John Harbaugh.
If he wants to continue his career, he has to get a faster quarterback, run the ball 95% of the time, and have Joe Flacco not underthrow all his receivers.
Guys,
I think
Q,
I think
Tyler's
why
new
Joe
favorite
Flacco
guy.
got traded was not only because of Lamar Jackson, but it was also because the Broncos have a new head coach, Vic Fangio, who has a defensive-oriented coach. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with a primary defense, so I don't know.
They're the team that thinks
Joe
they're
Flacco-
like
And-
just a quarterback away or something
And
like
the
that.
and didn't he do 2 years as a linebacker coach with Joe Flacco?
I think he coached a year with Joe Flacco.
And then Gary Kubiak, I guess when they were in negotiations to have him come back, he was selling them on Joe Flacco. So I guess
You're forgetting the selling point, gentlemen. You can
Former.
sell anyone a crappy car as long as it has these 3 letters associated. MVP. Joe Flacco, and you put air quotes around it, he
Former.
is an elite quarterback. All
No,
right?
Former.
he was
So-
an MVP of the Super Bowl 10 years
Former.
ago.
Yep.
And hasn't done a
no,
single thing since.
Don't quantify it. He's an MVP from the Super Bowl, all right? And he's still
Former.
playing.
So is Julian
He
Edelman
knows how
without
to
getting
get
a
the
touchdown.
job done.
Don't worry, Joe. I'm on
Actually-
your side, and I'm going to get you a job with the Jets. Don't you worry.
I read a funny stat. Joe Flacco has the most all quarterback stats in NFL history for not making a Pro Bowl. He's never made a Pro Bowl.
Do you know where Joe
'Cause he's
Flacco?
boring.
And I will say this, but where do you think Joe Flacco ranks on the list of highest paid quarterbacks? What
Near
number?
the top.
What number?
3rd.
9.
Mike?
I have no idea.
4th, 125 million.
Remember why he got that?
4th.
Was that a fact?
It's a fact.
His
Per
agent
ESPN when I saw it earlier today.
His agent did the smartest thing. His contract expired the year they won the Super Bowl. He was the MVP, and then his agent got to sit down, Super Bowl ring in hand, and go, "And what are you paying my client, Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco?" And they took the Baltimore's for every dollar that bastard is not even worth. I hate Joe Flacco. I hate you, but you're going to the Jets. Don't you worry, friend. New York will certainly make fun of you as much as we make fun of our new coach.
Dan, you're a liar. He's actually the 10th highest paid quarterback.
And ESPN was wrong, so I'm only reading the stat right off of ESPN.
Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Stafford, Drew Brees, Derek Carr, Andrew Luck, Alex Smith, and then Joe Flacco.
Read a
Game
couple
is-
more past him. Let's see if there are those quarterbacks that are past him better than him, or
I would say more than 70% of the quarterbacks in the league are better than
It's a
him.
shame you can't pull up back footage of ESPN because I like to pull that stat that I saw on ESPN and throw it up on the TV.
You watched the list that you weren't at, like you were working with a customer or something, and ESPN actually said, Joe Flacco, 10th worst quarterback in the history of the NFL, followed quickly by Ryan Leaf.
These days, you never know what they're judging in the stat.
Whoa,
right now,
Jamarcus
so.
Russell is definitely up there.
But either way, we can't say he's a high-paying quarterback and hasn't done anything. I don't really know what. I mean, I guess I got to look at what John Elway's reasoning is. Like I said, if he feels like his team can win with his defense,
Well,
and he's looking
you
for a
gotta
media
think.
core quarterback, then yeah, I'll give him credit. He pulled out. I mean, I would rather have Joe Flacco than Casey Keenum.
But look, he
Jason.
also, like
Huh?
Mike said, gave up a mid-round,
Jason.
mid-draft pick for him,
Casey.
4th or 5th.
Is that his name?
I mean, he gave up barely anything for Joe Flacco. So, he's taking a risk on him. Maybe Case Keenum doesn't live up to it. He can trade Case Keenum or release him, and then they have a good secondary quarterback. So,
I mean, I got to imagine John Harbaugh just wants him gone. It clears up
yeah,
salary
he's got
cap,
Lamar Action Jackson.
and you're going to take advantage of. I think Jackson has 2 more years left. And I think they should. They got a lot of salary cap to work with now, and a lot of room to pay some other people and get some other players in and take a run at it.
so let me
But
ask you
The
this.
next, what?
Do you think he's the next Peyton Manning for the Broncos?
Who?
Joe Flacco. Because that's what
He
I
doesn't
think
have
John
nearly a
Elway
big
signed
enough
him.
forehead.
In John Elway's mind, I think that's what he's thinking is going to happen. He's gonna sign another veteran quarterback, and he's gonna get him.
But if your goal was to pick up another veteran quarterback, why wouldn't you go for Eli Manning?
He needs a better defense than the Broncos have.
He's too
That's
old.
the thing.
He got the
Too
better
old.
of the two Mannings. Don't.
How old is Eli Manning?
38.
Eli's about 37.
As the only official advocate for Joe Flacco on this program, no. No.
Advocate for Joe Flacco?
Yeah, I am his
Eli Manning's
advocate.
38. Sorry, 38.
I'm going to start tweeting
Speaking
at him
of
to go to the
quarterbacks.
Jets.
Kyler Murray decides to choose the NFL over baseball.
It's a more honorable choice.
You know, he's gonna get more. He's gonna get more money in the NFL.
More money, less playing time,
More
less
CTE.
more CTE, but less of a time commitment in a year. Football
And I
players
think
play
he gets
substantially
more
less
visibility
games.
in the NFL.
And more publicity. I listened to something today, and it said, who do you guys think is the most popular or best baseball player in the MLB today? Nobody knows.
Nope, I couldn't.
Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, but even those guys aren't even on a national stage. You know, they don't get the publicity that NFL quarterbacks do. Every single person in the United States that watches sports knows every single starting quarterback in the NFL. They don't know baseball. Baseball, there's so many players.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's creepy.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get better publicity, better exposure in the NFL.
Gonna make far more money.
Exactly.
Play half the time that he has to in the MLB.
And at the end of
MLB's
the-
182 games or however long it is, 162. Excuse me.
And at the end of the day, maybe he's better in the NFL. Maybe he's better at football than baseball. And no one's really saying maybe that's why he's choosing the NFL. He's a better football player than he is a baseball player. I don't know his actual stats, so I'm not saying which one is
I mean, he
better.
won the Heisman. I mean,
But,
I should tell you how good he is.
Maybe he's choosing. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, he's going for the money." Maybe he's going because he's a better football player than he is baseball.
So if he gets drafted in the first round, I think he'll be the first person to ever be drafted in the first round of the MLB and the NFL.
He'll be drafted first round. I think so.
By the Oakland
He's an
Raiders?
athlete. Huh?
By the Oakland Raiders.
Definitely not the Oakland Raiders.
Could happen.
If the Oakland Raiders draft a quarterback, I will jump off a bridge.
If you guys will allow me, you're the commissioner of the MLB. The hottest prospect that gets the most press has now officially said, I'm not going to your product, I'm going over here. And this is about the carry the 2 millionth time this has happened to you. One thing off the cuff really quick that you're going to do to fix that, Dan.
Well, I disagree with you. How many people have chosen the NFL over the MLB?
Russell Wilson.
I don't really. Honestly, I would say the
every
MLB
year.
I would say the MLB doesn't care. I don't.
There's been a lot of dual sport athletes that have
Lately,
chosen to go down.
I feel
I mean,
like
it's not just the NFL. I mean, you could look. There's Pat. What the hell is his name? He plays in the NBA. He went to Notre Dame. He was a high draft pick in the MLB and chose to play basketball as a second round pick, which is bad, in the NBA rather than playing in the MLB.
How do you get somebody to play in the MLB then, Dan? You're officially
pay more.
Pay more?
I don't know how else are you gonna
I
incite
think
them to
that's fair
come?
enough. What Dan is trying to say is guaranteed money.
Okay.
When you're a high draft pick, they should have more guaranteed money for you, rather than, oh no, you have to take a bus to Toledo, Ohio, down to frickin' Altoona, Pennsylvania, and stay in a Motel 6 with worm-infested beds, and for 3 months, and then maybe you'll get called up to the double and triple A. No thanks. I'd rather be eating steak in Miami, playing for the Dolphins as their quarterback.
Mike, commissioner of the MLB, how do you make people go your way and not the other way?
I just would try to encourage them to play both, like Bo Jackson and Deion.
What about Deion Sanders?
Yeah, that's Bo and Deion.
Oh.
So how do you avoid the Michael Jackson, the
Michael Jackson.
the Michael Jordan problem, where he decides I'm going to play basketball, now I'm going to play baseball, but golf.
That was more
Well,
decided
the
for
way
him.
you avoid Michael Jackson is.
So that was more decided for himself because he was trash at baseball. So he didn't really have
Well,
a choice.
I mean, there's a real reason why Michael Jordan went to baseball.
Oh yeah, I know why he wouldn't, but
At the end of the day, I just don't. At the end of the day, I don't think the MLB is gonna change anything. Cause I really don't think they care. I feel like they may say, okay, we've lost 5 or 6 athletes to the football. Whatever. You know.
I just think they're riding on the fact that they are America's pastime, and that everybody will go back to baseball, and they'll always love baseball due to the heritage and the history of it. So they're not changing with the times, that's for sure.
Not even a little.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I don't think it's fair to blame all the MLB for it. I think a lot of it's the teams. I mean, you look at these teams; they're just so boring. You put all the MLB teams together; they're boring. They are boring. Besides the Yankees and the Red Sox,
what do you want them to do, Dan?
it's just nothing. It's boring to watch baseball. I can't stand watching baseball.
So that's up
How
my
about this?
opinion.
When a player runs down the base path, why don't we just add knives? And they randomly have knives. You don't know
See?
who has it.
Now we're
You don't know
brainstorming
who
some
has
real
it.
fixes for the MLB. The third baseman gets a knife, and every third player that passes by, they get at least one swing. We're going to XFL this. We're going to have glitter. We're going to shoot cannons at people.
Well, I was going to say, you're looking at like XLB.
Yep.
I just don't think baseball is at all entertaining unless it's October and you're watching a World Series run. That's all I think that's all that matters.
I do like playoff baseball. I couldn't watch regular season baseball.
I like playoff baseball when the Yankees or Red Sox are in it. That's about it.
I could watch any playoff baseball, really. The atmosphere.
I'm with Tyler. I'll watch
All right,
baseball.
And every year, Dave tries to jump in and watch MLB, but he can never do it. And you know what? He tries to. There'll be a random week or two in the summer where he goes, I'm trying to keep up with baseball. I'm trying to keep... And then you'll hear about it for a week, and then like a week later, you never hear it again. It's just like Dave's moved on from baseball.
Do you know why that is?
Because it's boring?
No. What's my team? It's not because they suck. It's because just like the Bills, I am not in that distribution market. And so for me to watch that, I have to spend... Last baseball season, I figured out I have to spend $60 a month. And you know what I spend $60 a month on? Not baseball. All right?
I don't need to know that, dude. Where you spend $60 a month on.
I spend it on my Twitch stream. DAM314.
Sure.
You watch.
What are we moving on to now?
We'll go with that internet provider and not something else. Anyways, Antonio Brown, speaking of internet, Antonio Brown formally requests trade over Twitter. Says, farewell Steelers, it's time for me to move on.
He's annoying. That's what
And
I'd
he
say.
didn't let the Steelers know before then?
Well, I mean, he told the Steelers, but it kind of got out, and now he formally addressed the media and said, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I want to move on from Pittsburgh. I don't want to play here anymore, so now they have to find someone to trade for him. But I read that Pittsburgh is probably not going to trade him and make his life miserable until his contract runs out. So
It's classic Pittsburgh. Just like Le'Veon Bell situation.
well, when you pay Antonio Brown all that money that they paid him, and then for him to say, no, I request a trade, I would probably do the same thing.
I would love to be an NFL owner.
He would be cut immediately.
Dan,
I
you
wouldn't
would
cut
be
him. I do exactly what Tyler just said. I make his life hell now. I'm paying you. How much does Antonio Brown get paid?
A lot
Let
of
me look
money.
it up.
And he's now happy? You know what? Go sit on the bench for a year and enjoy it. Or you know what? We're going to put you in every single play. Every
He just
single
wouldn't show up.
Every single play we're going to put you in.
Antonio Brown signed a contract for 4 years, $68 million.
Tyler, what's the record for most kickers on a team in one season? That's what Dan is going to be famous for. He is
That
literally...
would be my one pet peeve as a coach. You miss a shot, you're gone.
You're fired, buddy!
You know what I would have? I would have a line of about 8 kickers heading into the dugout. When one goes down, you bring in another
The
one.
dugout?
Yeah.
Oh
Or go
my
to the last
God.
one.
They would have theme music like Vince McMahon, and like if a kicker misses it, the game doesn't end. The game
Oh
doesn't
my
end.
God. And that's...
Hit Dan's music, and and then he goes onto the field, and he goes right up to the guy with the mic, and he goes,
No, what would be is if I was an NFL owner and that was my rule, and I had a line of people ready to go, it'd be if they missed a field goal, the coach had got to look up to the booth, and I would just go.
Even better, Dan's in the booth holding the thumb. The kicker's family walks out to the middle of the field and joins the player, and Dan just, the usual. And they immediately just rush them with security and rip the jersey off of them.
And then, or just do
Fall
that.
into a
Bring the
pit.
next one out. Let's go.
Next kicker starts warming up.
Dan's the first owner in history that has 2 active kickers on his roster.
Some teams should. Look at Seattle Seahawks. Should have had another kicker ready to go.
You might fire both of
Chicago
them in the
Bears.
same game if it gets lucky.
By the way, I haven't. I'll look. Has there been any updates on any of the kickers I've been after the last couple weeks? I haven't gone to look.
Adam
Sparky.
Vinatieri signed a contract with the Colts after
He's
the
back.
season, so that was one.
What
wrong
about Ganikowski? That
Janikowski.
That fat moron. What's he up to?
He's still with the Seahawks. The only person that left was Cody Parkey.
Oh, he's gone.
Well, I thought he was. I thought they got rid of him.
Sparky.
And you're
Park,
negotiating a contract.
I think, Tyler, you're confusing with the fact that CJ screamed so loudly at his television that all of us felt a disturbance in the universe.
No, he's still with them. That's shocking.
How much do you
And
want to
what's
bet?
shocking is that over all the last episodes that we've had, we've mentioned Sparky Parky in some kind of way. So he keeps getting brought up.
It's something to do with the money, otherwise he'd be gone. There's something guaranteed there that they don't want to deal with.
Well, they brought in another kicker to go for the job.
Can we, as Insane Games, pay to send a cadre of people, especially including CJ, to spring training for the Bears and just let him have at Parky while he's practicing? Can we please? I think that would be gold. Let's go. Hey, Sparky, Parky.
They probably won't
So
let him have
back to
any more
Antonio
interviews.
Brown. Any other thoughts?
I think he just.
Kareem Hunt to the Browns.
Well, okay. I guess we're moving on. Kareem Hunt.
Oh,
signed
that's
with
what
the
you
Browns
said.
then.
I thought you were saying in the NFL. Any
Guess
fun?
we're moving on.
Moving
So
on.
Kareem Hunt signs with the Browns. They're the only team that we're looking to sign him after he punched/kicked his girlfriend, I guess you could say, in the face at a hotel.
Was
so.
the kick really that bad? I mean,
Yes, Dan.
Yes! He is an NFL player! That
I
man
mean,
is doing
we've
nothing
all-
but being in the weight room.
we've all seen the video. He kind of just went like, I mean, he didn't like body check the. I mean, it's not good either way, but I mean, the punching's more severe than the kick.
Would you
I
like to
mean-
get kicked by a professional athlete?
It would be so demeaning.
It depends on the kick. If it was if it was a kick I saw on the video.
So
I mean, if it
if
was
we
good,
start
If it
searching,
was Cody Parkey, he'd totally miss you. So I'm not worried about that. But I will say.
Do the
I
Browns
think
know something that we don't
undisturbedly-
know, or like, I mean,
What?
do they know something that we don't know? Is he? Do they plan on him
No,
coming
let me-
off the exempt list?
If you let me talk, so he's still on the exempt list. I think the reason that he was signed is because John Dorsey, the GM of the Browns, was the GM of the Chiefs when they drafted Kareem Hunt.
So is it fair to say the only people that got screwed out of this is the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Or did they really get screwed out of it though? They have
because they
You
fired.
could have helped
I
them in
mean,
that
they're
playoff
the
game.
best running back.
He could have helped.
they got
them.
plenty they can bring up that they can just find.
A running back who could have helped them beat the Patriots.
And say they cut them, so they look like the good guys, and then some other team's just gonna sign them, and now they're gonna look like the good guys. for the
AKA
second
John
team.
Dorsey, who
Just anyone
worked
but
for
the
those
Chiefs.
guys back in the day.
The Chiefs are the only people that can't have Kareem Hunt after that.
I don't know.
Of
I don't
course,
know.
it was
Now
the
he's-
Browns.
Now he's playing for the Dog Pound.
The DP.
I am considering changing my fantasy football name this year to Kareem Hunts. And if you guys use it out there in the audience, show me.
Any thoughts on anyone read about Bob Costas or no? Am I the only one?
I watched the E60 on it for like 10 minutes and then I turned it off.
They did Bob Costas. Him and NBC broke apart like a couple months ago, and now he's allowed to speak publicly about whatever happened. And anyone who's familiar with him, he doesn't like covering NFL. Has never liked covering NFL. I think he covered up to like 2011.
16?
He stopped for a while. Then in 2011, when NBC got the rights to Sunday Night Football, and they wanted to go for Thursday night, they wanted Bob Costas to come back so they could help promote the program, and he did. He didn't want to. And then I guess, he'd been a big advocate for the concussion protocol and how the NFL needs to do better. And I guess he said, and I watched the video, and it was actually with Tony Kornheiser and Wilbaum of part of my interruption. There was a panel, and he was actually with them. And what he said about the concussions, where I was like, whoa, it went deep. Well, then the next day, the NFL, he got a call from NBC, and they go, we're taking you off the Super Bowl coverage. We can't have you on. And pretty much he got the ban from Roger Goodell. And then Bob Costas never went back on NBC again until the next year when they didn't renew his contract, or they decided to break apart. But I mean, I think right there that's an example of Roger Goodell, that mean Roger Goodell, that clown Goodell, breaking down all these rules that he wants. And I think there's a lot more politics behind. And what Bob Costas goes over is that all these media outlets, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, they all just cater to the NFL. And he brought up some. I wish I had the language of what he said. Basically, what he said was, it was like the buyer and the seller, and the seller was buying all the stuff, and they go, "We're going to give you $100 million for all this, but if we don't give it to you in the right bill dimensions, you just let us know. We'll change it. We'll give you we'll give you a 10% fee on top of that to make sure you keep being happy." And the way he explained it, it's actually legitimate, and it's that the NFL is getting all these media outlets are paying hundreds, if not billions of dollars for rights, and they're still kissing the NFL's ass, and it's just absurd.
Well, that's the thing is that rather than doing like journalist reporting kind of thing, is that they're worried about losing access.
Yeah.
So.
And nobody wants to lose access to the biggest sporting conglomerate in all of the world.
And it's something that you
in
see,
terms of money.
Sorry to bring in the outside world, but it's something that you see a lot in like politics reporting as well. People worried about losing access, and so they're not like necessarily reporting on everything that's happening.
But I found that story quite interesting.
I would love to see Roger Goodell take a note from wrestling, because that man gets booed no matter what he's doing. He could be holding a newborn baby up in front of the camera, and people will still boo the shit out of him. Like, even at the Super Bowl, I this year I didn't watch, but I always look forward to the annual booing of Goodell when he steps up onto the podium with the trophy, and he goes, "I now present you," and you just hear, for the first couple seconds before the sound people can adjust it, boo, and then they turn it down, you hear Roger Goodell speaking, and you just hear underneath him talking, and then the second he steps away from the camera, it just stops.
Yeah,
even during the draft, where he is literally just going, and the first pick of the draft, boo!
They just renewed his contract, so the NFL owners must be happy. So
they're making money. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Once that starts to turn or even sputter, then he just needs to start doing what Vince McMahon did: put on a sleeveless T-shirt and flex at people, and then just yell "you're fired" at random kickers, and people will once again boo him, but for the right reasons. They'll be like, "That jerk Goodell! I want to watch Kareem Hunt punch him in the face."
Whoa, dude.
Moving on from that, we had the AFF went live.
Wait, hold on. I just want to say, I was watching the E60 on Bob Costas. He seems like a little weasel. That's all I have to say.
I'm not a Bob Costas fan. I think he is a weasel. I also think when you're getting paid millions of dollars...
If I'm watching a football game, I know what's attached to it. I know that there's guys getting concussions out here. I don't need this little weasel from Syracuse University telling me that there's a large case of CTE. Like, that's not my problem. I'm just watching the product in which I love.
I agree with
That's
you.
the NFL's problem, that they need to fix that.
I agree with you, and part of me says, you know what, Bob Costas, you're getting paid millions to do a job of broadcasting the NFL. Just broadcast the NFL. We don't need your opinion on
Broadcast the freaking
concussions.
game.
You're not a doctor.
If you want to talk about concussions, bring it to the league board, not to me sitting on my couch with a bag of Cheetos in front of me with Cheeto dust hands and drinking a large Miller Lite.
Naked.
Naked.
Don't you hate cheese doodle fingers? I can't stand them, especially when it comes to gaming controllers.
You know what's even more horrifying? When people trade in and they've had cheese doodle hands all over control and then they don't use it for about 6 months, and then like they hand it to us,
we can't have it.
and then so they hand it to me, and I want so bad just to go, ah! I don't, because I'm professional.
He just whips his gloves out right in
I
their
do.
face.
I do my favorite thing, which is I have gloves behind the counter. I put the controller down. I put the gloves on. I make sure to snap them like I'm some sort of surgeon. And they're like, oh, what are those for? I'm like, because your stuff is disgusting.
Technically, you're a technological.
And Mike, you work with Dave, and Dave has a way of like, he throws in like an insult, but it's not. It doesn't sound like an insult.
He's a subtle insult person.
Like the guy that I'm doing
the jab and he'll wrap it off and pretend like it wasn't a jab.
Like today, a guy was trading in a bunch of stuff, and he goes, "Wow, what did you have these stored in a barn? Look at all the dust." Now I know Dave's complaining about the dust, but then the guy goes, "But not that there's anything wrong with that." And I'm going, "That's Dave complaining about the dust."
But I picked up the system, and I swear to you, life came off of it. Like there was dust that could have told me, back in my day, we didn't trade in systems, you just threw them away. Like,
quite frankly, Dave, the guy was arguing with you left and right. He was kind of like nicely arguing. He goes, "No, that works. All you gotta do is do that because that works."
The problem
Dave was
is,
nice. He goes, "No, it doesn't." He goes, "Oh no, you just gotta. It works." Right. And I'm listening to the two go back. And I'm just
here's
like,
the thing. Here's the thing. I am well trained by my manager that you don't make love to the systems. I turned it on. It did not work. I reset it. I put a different disc in. I turned it on. It did not do. And so I said, it does not work. I will give you the rate for non-funcking.
Which is weird because 64 is normally always work. So.
By the way, there's an N64 for you to fix.
But I just die laughing when Dave goes, "Oh, what did you have these stored in a barn for a couple of years? It was kind of dusty." And then he goes, "Oh, not that there's anything wrong with that."
But truly. And then he even, so when you trade things into us, and by the way, please.
Do you remember what he said back to you?
He goes, yeah, you can just clean that off.
That was an insult back, and I go, boy, does he not understand? Did you hear what he said back to you?
You can clean that off easily.
Oh, that's easy to clean off.
Yeah.
I want to say, okay, why didn't you do it when you came in?
Why didn't you do it? You want cash for it. Make it presentable.
I'm just sitting there, computer going, just typing them in.
I heard that, and I was like, you know what? He's trading in a lot of things. He's being social with me, and you know what? I don't mind a give and take. I don't mind a little bit give back when I'm saying things like that, because it is your right as a consumer to defend the thing you're trying to get top dollar for. It's totally fair. It's just not going to happen when I pick it up and it's literally got the scene from the Raiders of the Lost Ark where I'm opening the tomb and there's the corpse. Like
the corpse of Donkey Kong.
Exactly.
Not to get off topic, what were we talking about a minute ago? Oh, you brought okay. Are
The
you done about
AFL?
Costas is a weasel. That's all I wanted to throw.
You brought up the AAFL.
I keep wanting to say AW or E, whatever the wrestling one is.
Oh, AEW.
Yeah, I want to keep saying that.
Which sounds like a insurance company.
But it's AAF. And
AEW Home Security. We certainly will bill a dick spot in your living room.
And, so that debut this weekend. I didn't even hear the. I just heard one word and I don't know what he said. So, and I get AAF debuted this weekend. And
Is that hard for you to say?
I don't know. I keep re-saying it. So. When they opened up with
you could call it the Alliance because that's what they want people to call it.
Now, for everyone in the world,
no.
For everyone in the world, me and Boder included, what the hell's that?
It's another football league.
What?
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's another football league that's been under the radar, but I am very surprised at how much publicity it's gotten in the last week. And what I mean by that is ESPN on NFL Live was covering the AAF.
It's the same boom that the XFL got back in 2001. Everybody was super excited for it.
So
it's bound to go just like that. But it's off-season football,
right.
So it's around the time where the NFL ends and another football league comes around. Basically, all the guys that aren't good enough to play in the NFL are trying to get back into it, and they only have 8 teams, so it's not like a crazy long season. It's only supposed to last like 2 months, and it's just supposed to be
take
fun
a
to
little
watch.
bit of the market share away from the NFL. They can capitalize on a little bit of market share, then they're going to make money. That's all they're looking to do.
They have teams in all these areas that the NFL could possibly go into.
Right.
Now they have places in San Diego, Salt Lake City, Memphis, Birmingham, Orlando. And they have rights to different colleges. Like Birmingham has rights to Alabama players when they come out of college. So it's pretty neat. It's a little like grassroots, like kind of like AA or AAA baseball. But I think it's good because if people want to continue to watch football, they have this avenue that they can watch football on after the NFL's over.
So it opened up this weekend, had good ratings. It actually beat the NBA game. On Saturday night primetime, which I don't know who was playing, I forget. But I mean, it's not as big accomplishment, but it could be. I mean, their games beat NBA Saturday night NBA. So I mean, I think they had a 2.9 million network share, so that's not terrible. So it got good. I mean, for an opening weekend, where it goes the rest of the season, I don't know. I mean, they're probably going to go down. People probably watch it the first weekend. But what makes me the most intrigued is what this means for the XFL when that comes out in a year. Because you gotta imagine they're putting a lot more money into it, and a lot more. They keep, see, if I'm in Vince McMahon's office right now, I think what's beginning to make the XFL a success is you need to hire 8 known coaches that people know of. They've already hired one. They need to hire 8 that people are going to go, he actually could coach a decent team. And that's going to get people to start looking at the teams. I think you just fill in, because no one's going to know all the players that are playing for the, you can barely keep track of the NFL. I mean, so
Jack Del Rio.
All they got to do, and they got to pay these guys millions. They got to pay these guys a lot of money to get good at coaches that people are going to follow. And I think that's where the XFL can beat the AAF and then eventually go after the NFL.
And the AAF has good coaches too. I mean, they have Mike Singletary, Steve Spurrier. I mean, they don't have just these schlubs off the street. They actually have former NFL coaches.
And interesting fact, that the owner or chairman of the AAF is Dick Ebersol. You know who he is?
Yep.
Really?
He's also the co-founder of the XFL, Vince McMahon. So how interesting does it become that about 3 years ago, Dick Ebersol and Vince McMahon had a reunion of sorts on the WWE Network on a show where they sat down and talked about the XFL. And it's funny that after that they both said, "Oh, we do it again."
It was a 30 for 30.
It was a 30. We do it. That's right, 30 for 30. It was we do it again. We would sit down and do it again. Isn't it funny that they both go off and start their own again, but with different companies? Vince with the XFL and Dick Ebersol, and his son is the CEO, but Dick Ebersol is the chairman.
Are you sure they're different companies?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, they are.
Because I'm smelling in a year the players start taking the field, and suddenly, again, Vince McMahon's face appears on the Jumbotron, and the players start ripping off jerseys, and there's XFL logos everywhere.
Can you imagine if the XFL bought the AAF and Vince comes out with his music out on the field and his microphone, and they do a big promo?
Now wait. You know what it'll actually be? They'll do a Monday night AAF game. Vince will be on Raw, and he'll be talking about things. And Shane McMahon will strut out to the middle of the AAF field and announce that I just bought the AAF, Dad, and I'm going to compete with you. And oh wait, they did that, and it didn't go very well. Never mind.
Oh well. So that's the AAF opening weekend. We'll see if it brings any more traction as it fills out its season.
Just when you
I
thought
do
the
have
football
to
talk
say,
is
the
over,
colors of the teams are
new
super
league
confusing.
comes.
I don't really the name. I just can't get behind it. I'm sorry.
I'm watching Atlanta with the Minnesota Vikings colors and like they need to kind of bring in the colors from the NFL to the city teams as well too.
Boater, there are now 3 football leagues with schedules that do not overlap. Football forever.
One of those guys.
See you later. All right, so
Is there going to be fantasy
to
football?
save
for
Boater's
these
life,
things,
we'll
though?
move on from football, so he doesn't use a Nerf gun.
God. So Boda doesn't go home and make another video about us talking about football again.
No, do that, please.
So what we got? So we want to do what's dead to the end this week?
Is it good?
Oh.
Pull out the list,
Um,
and you got to write this down the way I say it, Dave. 'Cause I'm gonna say it a certain way.
Whoa.
the dead to den list.
Is a pizza place that we will not name. That's what I want you to write down. A pizza place that we will not name. And we all know...
A place that shall not be named. How about that?
Yes. That we all know is local. It's right over. It's around the corner. It's a local one.
Too much information already. You've given it
doesn't matter.
away.
I'm not gonna say their name publicly. But I went in there to get a slice of pizza, and when we're in this business and we buy a lot of things from different people, sometimes we have issues with customers. Sometimes we, it turns into situations, and I don't like to really talk about it too much. But we had a customer that I think we all can agree that it was just one of the most absurd. What?
Tyler's frozen.
We just lost Tyler.
Tyler, hello.
That's kind of a creepy looking face.
Hello.
He's waiting for you to talk about the thing. That's what this is. It's just an intensive face.
Is he there?
No, you.
Because I was playing Apex.
No.
No, that's on his end.
I just killed the game because of that. Hello.
Wow, Tom.
Wow.
Remember, it's not an episode of Behind the Counter if we don't drop Tyler at least once.
That is true.
At least it's not by
It's
accident.
starting to become the new norm that we lose him at least once an episode.
Drip, drip, drip.
He probably had like his internet went out a little bit last week before.
Tell me
Straight
to
up,
call
yeah,
back.
internet drop.
Buttercup probably bit his.
Yeah.
He'll call back.
We should really get them to sponsor us.
Who? Skype?
I mean, they wouldn't like the visual we
You guys make
give.
us look awful.
You guys make us look so bad. I'm sorry, we're using your product actively. I don't know what to do. We can't sugarcoat it. Skype, when you want to drop a call.
I'm looking out on my dramatic story.
Well, now it's cut off. Drip, drip.
Whoa.
Well,
He's lost. He's
he'll
lost.
call
He'll be
back.
Might need the pillow. The live air pillow. So absurd. That's the soft pillow.
No, we'll try the soft pillow first.
so fair watchers.
Hang on. So while we're waiting for that, him, let's throw out some plugs real quick. Saratoga Comic Con
Here,
coming in.
I'll do that.
Coming in later April. Where is my little sheet? April 27th and 28th, right here at the Saratoga City Center. We're one of the sponsors for that, so make sure you come in. I'm sure we'll have Sam on the program pretty soon, and he'll go over a lot of guests. What are some of the guests he's already named?
What was it? What do you say?
Me!
Well, no, I was gonna get that in a
I'm in a
second.
panel
Dave's
at
on
the
a
Saratoga
panel.
Comic
Gonna
Con.
ruin this. You're gonna go see Dave. He'll be wet. Very moist.
Dave's on a panel. Do you know what the panel is exactly yet?
It is discussing. Right now, we don't have a solid concept, but it's video game culture, streaming culture, and retro video games as it pertains sort of to convention culture and also to the average person.
There you go. And then, who else does Sam say is there?
Is it John? I'm gonna butcher his name. Is it Johnny Young Bosch or?
One of the Power
or is
Rangers,
it?
right?
Yeah.
It might be
Black
Trigon,
Ranger
right?
and Trigun
The controller keeps
voice
moving around the
actor
room.
for Bash the Stampede.
I forget what the first name is, so you got the rest of it right.
Okay, so I was close, but yeah, he's gonna be there.
Not Vic Mignogna. Not giving that bastard any money.
It's being Stoop Skype.
So the announced guests for this Saratoga Comic Con, which tickets are available now.
So we have Saratoga Comic Con April 27th and 28th. Make sure you check them out at SaratogaComicCon.com. Tickets are $20 on Saturday, $15 on Sunday, or you can get a package deal for $30 for both. I'm sure Sam will have a lot of information on his Instagram post and on and also on the website. So make sure you check in with him. Don't you love technical issues? Like, I have no idea why you can't pull him up right now.
That should be the new Dead to Dan.
I'm pretty sure it's just like his internet probably died again. Because everything's fine.
Open Skype back up though, because otherwise he can't call.
I don't have my phone, so I'm using my watch that I pay so much money for. Hello. Let's see how many times I keep saying hello.
Wait, you don't have your pinky up. You're using an Apple Watch.
Hello.
You have to. You're not Dan. You're not doing it right. Mike, hold up your pinkies. We have to. He's not doing it. Yeah, and you're not doing it right.
What?
You're not holding up a pinky. You're using an Apple Watch. It's fancy technology. All right. You're
It's
cutting
not
it.
fancy. They just want you to think it is.
It's a mini iPad.
Stop buying into their BS.
It's an iPad that fits on your wrist. Dick Tracy predicted it.
All right, what's Dead to Dan? Tyler will call back when he gets.
So
back
what's
online.
Dead to Dan this week? It's a pizza place that we shall not name around the corner. Because you know, when I went in there to buy a slice of pizza, I went and got two. When I went in, the guy that we've had an issue with here, big issue with, one of the most absurd situations I think I've ever seen in the history of having a store here, is a guy that's upset that we didn't buy the pops as quickly as he wanted us to buy his pop collection, and went on this big rant about whatever on social media, tried to blast us, walks by here and gives us a death stare every 2 minutes. But when I go in there as a consumer to a business that, by the way, he does not own, he's not a manager, he's not a supervisor, he works there, and when I walk in to buy whatever from whatever consumer that I'm buying it for, whatever person I'm buying it, and I get the death stare, why would I want to go back there? I'm coming into your establishment that you're a worker at, by the way. You're not an owner, and you're giving me the death stare. Like, why would I want to come back there? And I'm walking in to simply buy that slice of pizza, and you get the death stare. Dead to me. I'm just not going to go back there anymore. Not interested in it. And I would love to find the guy who owns that place so I can tell him that I'm not coming back to your place because of that situation right there. I mean, I don't know. If someone came in and said that Mike Batista is giving me the death stare when I'm coming in to buy a $200, because I had an issue with him a long time ago, I would see, like, what's the issue, Mike? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that guy's coming in as a consumer to buy something from our business, and you're treating the customer that way? Shaking his head at me and giving me the nasty look. Okay, I just won't come back anymore. And by the way, pizza wasn't that good.
We're in upstate New York. There's so many different places to get pizza.
Yeah.
The pizza was
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
you're in a crowded market in
Just
Saratoga
kill the whole
Springs.
thing.
There was a place that was a couple blocks off Broadway that I really liked for their sandwiches, but every time I walked out there was like flies buzzing around the pizza. It was disgusting. And there's like three different pizza places on Caroline alone. And I one point I was like, oh, I want one of the sandwiches. I go to it. Oh, it turns out it's been closed for like 3 months. I didn't go there for pizza. I went there for other stuff. But obviously nobody else is going there for pizza either because it was disgusting. And you can't survive like that when there's so many good pizza places around.
Where's is Tech Tom here?
Well,
Well, we need an Ethernet cord running up through the ceiling here.
Sounds like it's time to give it a.
Operations manager Tom, we need an Ethernet cable running up.
It's
I got grief. I got grief for like 5 months from not having a a switch in the store. We need a Dan. We need a switch. We need a switch. Dan, we need a switch. We got all these cables that we have to run. We need a switch. Switch. And we just need a hard. I mean, I don't know. I know I'm gonna blame him for not having the right internet connection. But to be fair, we have 3 things running on overlays here. We got 3 things running on.
Dan, this is on wireless. I haven't dropped a single frame. Oh, is it? Okay.
That's why.
Hey. Our store's internet is fantastic.
Oh, it's top of the line, without a shadow of a doubt.
The insane games, what's the term for it that you have here now?
The powerhouse?
The powerhouse?
The Nighthawk? The 6 antenna router that we have in the back?
The set we have here, the
Insane Game Studio.
Yeah.
The studio.
Don't blame the studio, okay?
I'm not blaming the studio.
The Weekend Wednesday goes off without a hitch once I figure out the stupid broadcasting problems.
If I know it's hardwired and we drop internet connection like that, at least I know it's not our fault. I mean, even though our Wi-Fi is pretty powerful, we have a 6 antenna router over there. And now we have... But all I heard was... And we all know Tom well. And he likes to have everything spot on particular.
Yes.
And we finally upgraded that switch. We put that switch in, got everything hardwired. That we
and it was fantastic. Not a single one of the things that have now been hardwired because of that switch have crapped the bed a la they did before the work was done.
Dave's
so
kissing
thank
Tom's
you, Tom.
ass right now.
Because the work worked. The idea and all of his things, his points were valid, and that part worked. Not to say your point of wanting that to be wired isn't valid either, but...
I'm just saying, out of all the things that we have wired in the store, I think the one thing that should be wired is a guy coming in on Skype.
Tyler should be wired correctly.
You're
Classic
not
Tom mistake.
He probably has one of the shittiest networks.
He probably does. I'm not saying that he doesn't. He probably has one of the worst connections in Tampa, Florida. I mean, with probably like 25 devices running on Wi-Fi.
So classic potato situation you're trying to
It's a classic potato situation.
So
Spud after spud after spud.
is your rant
Potato.
is Dead to Dan, is that now completed?
I don't know. I may switch to Skype in a minute.
All right,
fuck
so-
that pizza place and fuck that guy.
As he's hanging up, so we're getting connected to him. He might just be busy. His house might be on fire.
Try him again.
His car could be getting towed. I don't know.
Tyler, I hope you're safe. I hope Buttercup is safe. So
I think this is just a whole Tyler lie.
we have now
Whole
added
Tyler lie.
we have now added to Dan's dead list.
Throw on effing Skype. Make it 2 for 1 this week.
2 for 1.
Skype
A
is
record.
dead to me. Wireless internet connection is dead to me. Keep it going.
A 3.
Just
3.
keep it
I don't
going.
know that the records can handle
Tyler's
that, Dan.
internet's dead to me. Just keep it. What
Just
else
throw
do we
the
throw
records.
in?
Just throw Tyler in
The
there as
records,
well.
Dave.
You know what? I'm gonna blame it on
The
Skype.
records! They can't handle
Skype is
it!
dead to me. This is ridiculous.
Oh, we've had too much. Wi-Fi is dead to Dan. I'm pretty sure I heard something about chipmunks. I don't know. I'm swinging wild there.
Well, we're talking about Florida. Lizards down in Florida's dead to me, so throw that on there. I can't stand the geckos in Florida. Throw that on there.
That's not even the worst of it.
I don't care. Well, we're talking about Florida.
My
throw lizards.
God,
It's ridiculous.
we truly, and in tribute to a fantastic reference to our program.
Absolutely ridiculous.
But the records!
The record, we had a 5 for 1 special this week. What's dead to Dan? Ridiculous.
And so I am capping it off. The marker's closed. It's dead to Dan. The list as it stands. Ahem. Dead to Dan. Kickers. Plastic knives. Short TV series. The National Basketball Association.
Can you read your own handwriting?
The Wilton Mall Candy Center. I just had no idea what that was. The pizza place that shall not be named forevermore. Skype. Wi-Fi. Lizards of all kind. Big, small, except for Godzilla.
You forgot Tyler's internet.
No.
Specifically,
It's closed till another week.
Specifically Tyler's internet. That needs to go on the list.
It is dead to Dan.
So it is written.
So it is written. So it shall be done.
Alright, let's move on. Tyler, he can go. Whatever. Let's move on to Fact or Crap. Dave's kept it a secret. Boater, get your ass in here. Joe, why don't you come join us?
Okay.
I don't know if you'll be able. I don't know if the camera will see you, but you can sit there.
Yeah, have a seat there.
Sure.
I'll make sure
So Joe is going to be acting. Joe, welcome, Geek for All.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
You can follow Joe on Twitter at Geek for All YT.
That's correct.
And on YouTube at Geek for All. That's the number 4, not the word 4.
Joe didn't know what game we were playing.
I mean, I saw the poll.
So how we're gonna do it is Joe is Tyler. Okay, so Joe will be Tyler's stat.
Whoa!
Whoa.
We
Whoa!
gotta keep Tyler synced with us
Whoa!
with that. So
You're throwing in way too much. All right.
actually, Tyler may win one again with Joe. Joe may know the category. He may get lucky.
He knows Dave.
I have a pen and
He knows the way his mind works.
Well, actually,
You don't need a piece of paper.
You know what?
Nope.
You know
Okay.
what? On the Weekend Wednesday, we have a story about that. Speaking of
Okay.
So, this week for Fact or Crap, the 10th edition of Fact or Crap, by the way,
10 times.
trending on Twitter in the last 60 minutes. I looked it up right before we went live.
So this is in the last 60 minutes as of 60 minutes ago.
Yeah. In the last 60 minutes as of 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Trending on Twitter. So starting with Boater. Nintendo Direct.
Fact.
Fact.
To me, fact.
Fact.
Correct. It was trending on Twitter.
It was something about Mario Maker being available for the Switch via Nintendo Direct.
That'll make the Wii U truly dead too.
Starting with Joe. Was Link's Awakening trending on Twitter?
I'll say crap.
Next to me, I thought it went the
Yeah,
other way now.
Yeah, I was.
I don't know which way we're starting.
I think
Doesn't
it's
matter.
to start with me.
Yeah.
I'll go crap.
I'm gonna say fact.
Crap.
Twas.
I
It
had a
was.
Two
feeling because
Nintendo things in the
Direct
top
would.
10.
Dave pushing his Nintendo agenda right
Well,
now.
I didn't know if there was any some sort of like Nintendo press conference where they announced it.
Starting with oh, this is really fitting that Boater should start with this one.
Oh, F.
Was Joe Flacco trending on Twitter?
That gun. Fact.
Fact.
Crap.
Fact. That could be a side swipe.
The MVP of the Super Bowl has never trended on Twitter once, and he never will. Joe Flacco
Why
is a
didn't have to be
loot.
traded? Jeez.
Wow.
I thought about that. That could be a very sly trick right
That
there.
may have happened. He may have trended for like 15 minutes, but the 4 people that tweeted him, including himself and his mom, definitely did not keep it going
Hey,
up
you're
until 8
supposed to
p.m.
be a Flacco friend. You're hurting his image.
I'm-
now. You're
The
shitting
Jets
on him.
want him. The Jets are going to get him. Don't you worry out there, Jets faithful. He's going. He's going. And if he doesn't go to the Jets, he's going to the XFL. He'll be the best player there. Or the only player. Starting with Joe. Mario Maker 2. Was that trending on Twitter?
I'll say fact. Yeah.
The fact that Boater was mentioning it a minute ago makes me suspicious that it's a fact.
He's giving you no impression.
I'm
right
going
now.
to get. Yeah, his face isn't moving either.
Well,
I'm going to say a fact.
Since they were talking about re-releasing it, I'm gonna say no on. I'm gonna say crap on 2.
Crap.
It was announced. It's happening.
I am bombing.
Mario Maker 2.
There was because that was a big thing in the Mario Maker community was it had become super stagnant, but it still has a big following on Twitch and on YouTube and things like that. And so a lot of people were like, well, if Nintendo Direct's coming out or E3 or whatever, like every time something came up where things could be announced, they were always clamoring for more information
Oh,
for it.
so,
So,
I mean,
I
so
didn't know you-
I was even saying fact just because
whether
of
or not it was announced, it would still be trending.
exactly
Okay.
whether so that because you were talking about porting it to the Switch, and even if that was the only thing, I said fact because then I'm sure a ton of people would have been like, great, so I guess no Mario Maker 2,
Yeah.
which would have then made it
I
trending.
didn't know you
anyway,
knew
so.
so much about Nintendo, Tyler.
I was like, well, that's not my
You do realize I have a guest column for this exact situation, right? All right, starting with Boater. Trending on Twitter at 8 p.m. Tetris 99.
Sure, why not?
How can all these games be trending right now? It's all video games?
It's
must
all
have
off.
just had the
It's all off
Nintendo.
Nintendo Direct.
Fact.
I'm actually gonna say crap.
I'm going to say crap, too.
It was trending.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right,
Coming
starting
back.
with Joe.
Okay.
Tetris Battle Royale.
What is this? What's the one Tetris?
I'm gonna say, God help me. I really hope it's crap.
Crap.
I hope it's trending, but I think that that's too easy something for Dave to make up, so I'm gonna say crap.
Crap.
As the Bad Religion song goes, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Interesting.
It was trending.
Interesting.
I can't wait to see that, and I can't wait for the line to be the piece you win when you win the game.
I don't have any idea how that would work.
Starting with Boater. Apex Predator. Was that trending on Twitter at 8 p.m.?
Fact.
Crap.
I'll also say crap.
Fact.
Crapola, I made it up.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Starting with Joe, was Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I'll say fact.
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 It was. It was. You're
definitely
starting to
see
see the
that
trends.
Yeah, that was another
So did
one.
Or
you
will
search
you?
video game
Oh.
I searched trending on
well.
Twitter.
and all these video games came up?
Oh no. Yeah, we're good.
Welcome back, Tyler.
I'm back. I'm back from the dead, bro.
So, before we continue with the fact of crap, okay, Dan's dead list, it was a 5-for-1 special. Do you want to name off the new ones, Dave? So Tyler can hear them?
We already decreedeth it.
No,
You'll have to wait till next week.
Let's go. Quick, let's throw them out.
The records have been sealed, sir.
No,
I'm sorry. I cannot.
Let's do an instant replay on that. Come on.
All right,
I
all
want
right.
Tyler to hear
See,
the new-
he used a football term. I'm familiar with those. I'm comfortable now.
Dan went on a rant. Let's have Tyler hear the new Dead Dan.
Ahem. Newly added to the Dan's Dead list, the pizza place that shall not be named, Skype, Tyler's Wi-Fi, lizards large and small. So it is written.
What was the last one?
Lizards. While I was discussing Florida, I had to throw in the fact that I don't like the lizards. So, Dead's a
I
Dan.
mean, I got off the phone with Spectrum before I even started the podcast, and they go, "Well, we're seeing that you have a very consistent Wi-Fi." I'm like, "Really?" Because it's not freaking loading anything. And he's like, "Well, do you have your laptop hardwired into anything?" I go, "No." Hence why it's a freaking laptop. It's not a desktop, it's a laptop. And he goes, "Go to fast.com. So I go to fast.com. And he goes, what's your megs per second? I go, it's 29. And I'm supposed to be getting 120 megs from Spectrum. So he goes, you have your PlayStation hardwired in. What's your megs on your PlayStation? So I go to the internet browser. My megs on my PlayStation is 19. So what's the frickin' deal, Spectrum? What's the frickin' deal?
I've been thinking long and hard the last couple weeks about making Spectrum dead to Dan, but I haven't, and they're getting very close to making the list.
Spectrum's been dead to Joe for like 4 years.
I didn't want to make it too but Spectrum has been borderline dead to Dan for quite some time.
The second Spectrum goes dead to Dan, just you can kiss the stream goodbye because they're watching with a finger on the button.
You know very well that the second our Wi-Fi bill is due, the second our internet bill is due, they're immediately paying very close attention.
Oh, they turn off our internet once a month because I forbid to pay the month in advance. I am dead set. I am not paying for a month that I have not used service. So every once a month on the 10th, I get a call from their internet just went down, and I have to call and make a quick pay, and it's back on because I forbid to pay that month in advance.
And by the way,
and I probably should just so it doesn't interrupt business, but I forbid to do it.
you're very lucky that you have 2 employees that are very good at the at doing this, stretching it out, delaying the customers. Mike has had to, in one occasion, go, "Dave, delay," and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He tossed me a top hat and a cane, and I did a dance, and everyone went, "Ah!" and they forgot that they were buying things, and
Oh,
then
that's
I
how we
found
do
a
it.
dollar.
There we go. All right, so real quick, we're gonna do. You got 5 seconds for each one, Tyler. Okay. Dave's gonna quick go through the list of the ones we already did, and you got to quick answer it so we can keep you in parallel with every week.
Oh, he's been doing super well so far, though.
Nope. No, he has not. He does not have a single marking
So
in
the
his name.
topic is what's trending on Twitter
As
right
of
now.
8 p.m.
As of 8 p.m.
Ready,
Go
Tyler?
cheat.
And he should master
I'm
this.
ready.
He's on
Yeah.
Twitter every minute. He's on Twitter, so he should
Nintendo
know.
Direct.
Fact.
Correct. Link's Awakening.
Fact.
Correct. Joe Flacco.
Fact.
Crap.
Oh, damn it.
Mario Maker 2.
Fact.
Crap. Tetris 99.
Wait a minute.
Fact.
Hold on.
I
What
thought
was,
Mario Maker,
Mario Maker
hold
2
on,
was a
Mario
fact.
Maker
It
was
was
Mario
fact.
Maker 2. You told
Was
us.
fact. Never
Okay,
mind.
You told us fact.
I was gonna say.
I would have got
I'd be
one.
pissed.
Tetris 99.
Fact.
True. Tetris Battle Royale.
Crap.
Wow. It was a fact. Apex
Oh, wow.
Predator.
What is it?
Apex Predator.
Fact.
False.
Damn it.
Crap. Animal Crossing.
Fact.
And just like everybody else, you're on the boat. All right, so you're all caught up. And wow, did that help Tyler. So, starting with Boater. Star Wars Episode 9. Was that trending on Twitter at 8 p.m.?
Fact.
Tyler?
Fact.
Mike.
Fact.
Crap.
Dan?
Crap.
That was quite the face you pulled.
'Twas not. 'Twas not trending on
It wouldn't
Twitter.
have.
That is 3 fools.
It wouldn't have been.
I
That
knew
was
Tom
a-
had some insight.
That was
on
a
that.
guest. That was a guest write-in, actually.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been this late in the day. If they had released a trailer, it would have been earlier,
Oh, well, no, it wouldn't have been a trailer. I figured it might have been like a cast.
or the title or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
And so the last one for this week's, the 10th installment of Factor Crap, starting with our guest, Ryan Adams. Factor Crap trending on Twitter.
Oh, good. I don't feel so bad now. Wow. I'll say fact. I have no idea who it is.
I honestly don't know.
Could be
either.
just a made-up name, but I'll fall for it.
I'll go fact. I've been wrong in every single one, I think.
Crap, why not? I don't care.
Tyler?
I'm not winning this week.
Crap.
Mike?
Fact.
Show of hands real quick. Do anyone know who this guy is?
Nope.
No one knows?
Nope.
I know Brian Adams.
Yeah. I. That's
he
why
a
I was
singer?
like. That's why I was
Isn't
like
Bryan
afraid.
Adams a
That's
singer?
that's why I was like, if it's a made up name, you got me. But
It was.
Yeah, it was a
It was
made-up name.
third.
Do you know who he is?
No!
oh
You
wow.
don't know?
No,
Okay.
and I was afraid to look it up.
All right.
I'm looking him up.
Cool.
What is it? Ryan Adams?
Ryan Adams. RyanAdams.
Ryan Adams and Mandy Moore is what comes up right away.
Is that why?
Ryan Adams accused of sexual misconduct. Okay.
And that's why he's trending on Twitter.
Lovely. Good
He
times.
is highly regarded for his American. He's a country singer. High rise in the 2000s. So okay, 44 years old from Jacksonville.
Lovely.
Okay, move on.
Wow.
So Dave's counting that. He has a few extra ones to count. So
We did get a comment from Amslayer during that, I think regarding Tetris 99, saying it's even going to be on the PSP. He might have been talking about something else that we brought up though.
So I think we're gonna have a little bit of a Boater
PSP.
rant here. So we'll keep Boater on the sex. I heard him yip yapping about it when he came in earlier.
Yip yapping.
Activision
How nice.
Activision fired 700 employees.
800.
800?
800.
Did it go up to 800?
It was 8.
Yeah.
800 employees after having their record-breaking year in sales.
Correct.
And I know you mentioned something on I think Facebook. You had a little bit of Facebook comment yesterday
Yeah.
about it. So you want to kind of give
Yeah,
a little. I have a
so
feeling you know a little bit more.
This was kind of like coming down the pipeline. People kind of knew about it, but it was something that like because of here we are in late stage capitalism, so we need growth. That's not enough to make record profits. We need to have record growth, and they only grew by 9% instead of projected 11 or something. So, well, we got to dump 800 employees. Meanwhile, Bobby Kotick's making like $26 million a year.
Yep, that was a big talking point today.
It's
Yeah,
something
but can't you
that-
say that Activision will probably, I think it's over company wide? I mean, is it really Blizzard and Activision? It's Activision. It's not separate.
But
Well, no,
I mean,
but the thing is that when Activision bought Blizzard, it was this very much separate but equal
Right.
kind of thing, with all the connotations that come with that terminology. It was that Blizzard would be its own thing, just happened to have Activision over it. So, like, community managers, like someone who was World of Warcraft community manager for 11 years, gone. Like, it's all these people that are, like, they didn't get rid of actual game developers, but they got rid of, like, support staff. Whether it's community managers or anything like that.
Honestly, A, that's going to happen with any merger. But B, did we not see this coming with Fortnite? Because I think
Oh, shut up!
No, I'm serious. I think
No,
that,
shut up! No, we knew this was coming because Activision is the scummiest distributor in video games right now.
And here
EA
comes
is
the
trying.
rant.
EA is trying, but as soon as Activision bought Blizzard, it was like, well, it's coming at some point. And frankly, I'm happy that Blizzard stayed on its own, doing its own thing with its own full staffing as long as it did. But
Game
here it
sales
is.
are
This
down.
is the reckoning.
And I tell you right now, you guys can argue, game sales
No,
are down.
not when they're doing.
they are not down.
Apex Legends is out now. Fortnite's out. These are all games that people aren't paying for. They're playing.
9% like growth, record profits. You can't turn around and be like, nobody's buying games. Shut up about Fortnite.
They may be up, but they may not be up as much as they wanted to be up.
Yeah, but the point
To
is,
signify why
they're
they have
making
all these
record
jobs.
profits. There's no reason to lay off 800 people, 800 livelihoods that have no idea where their next meals are coming from.
Gonna be a evolving score in
Just
the future.
absolutely. Like
I think you.
there are like companies out there, and like I guess like Ubisoft is good about this. It's well, if they don't do as well as they projected, how about these like top 10 people that are making 20-odd million a year take maybe a tiny little pay cut to pay some salaries going forward.
That was the story that they were talking about today. Was that they talked about the fact that Satoru Iwata from Nintendo had taken a pay. He and the other like top people at Nintendo had taken a certain percentage pay cut to continue to pay their employees when things were starting to look down.
You mean when the Wii U came out? Let's not start the Wii U, the dark times for Nintendo, and Iwata was the first one to go, I fucked up.
My bad. I'll take that hit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of people here in the Insane Game Studios that are in denial about what Fortnite's done to the. It's just,
This isn't a discussion. About Fortnite. This is a discussion about Activision's awful practices. And
I think it comes down to they're not making as much money as they want.
Activision buys studios, gives them crap, and then blames it on them. Activision says, hey Blizzard, you know what will do really well in China? A Diablo game on mobile. Let's sell that. Oh no! Well, that was totally your fault.
Now let's take a look at EA. EA, rated one of the worst companies of all time one year, by the way, is now did nothing but in decline for the past 9 months. Their stocks have now surged almost double with the release of Apex Legends, another free game.
And because people are getting their money out of Activision, not Blizzard. They're pulling out of Activision itself because this is.
I know a lot of people that sold Blizzard stock today. A lot of my friends.
As
had
they
stock in
should
Blizzard.
until they start getting
And
that
they-
Battle
and they
Royale
sold.
game going. I mean,
Oh,
it's-
shut up!
that's the way. Tyler, what do you
Jesus.
think? You haven't said anything
Okay,
about it.
yes.
I mean,
Tyler.
you're telling me that you
Shut
tell
up,
me
it's
what
Tyler's turn.
Wait, what's the question?
you tell me why you think Activision's laying off 800 people.
It's America, and we are a capitalistic country, and they are not making as much money as they want. I mean,
And why do
it's
you think
simple
they're not
as
making
that,
as much
and-
money as they want?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the way I see video games going, and I see a lot of it going in the free to play and then pay for cosmetic looks, like you see in Apex Legends now and Fortnite. I mean, that's just the way I see it. There are games being sold. I'm not saying there isn't, I just think you're seeing a shift towards people going towards free-to-play games, and it's, I don't know, I just think over time it's going to hurt the video game market, and that's maybe why Activision dumped those people, is because they saw it going that way.
Yes, Dave.
Okay, so
Let's see.
Tyler, I don't disagree with you, but I also think there's a large blame on how the video game market itself is trending. They are setting absurd sales goals for games that years ago would have been more niche or would have at least not covered every single console owner. The fact that CEOs of these companies know how many Xbox Ones, how many PS4s, how many PCs are in people's hands, and they expect that they're going to get a percentage of every single one of those owned. And you should. You should. But they're setting these absurd goals that are now almost unattainable. And every year, they have to do more. But at what point do you expect that every single person, and people who have never, and let's use an example, if you have never purchased a Call of Duty game, you are not going to purchase Black Ops 6. You're just not going to get into that boat. And yet, you are counted among next year's projections of people that are going to buy Black Ops 6 or other things like that. And that trend is also going along with the fact that how much, do you remember my collector's edition of Hitman was?
This thing?
Yeah.
I think it was worth like $100 now or something
It's
like that.
so the statue itself was the collector's edition was $125, and that was
The game itself is free now.
yes, but it was the whole game, all the chapters, all the DLC. Like this was a deluxe edition.
You get everything.
It came with the Hitman tie, the statue, all these things. The deluxe editions that are getting released now with all these now bigger budgets, things like that. The Resident Evil 2 Deluxe Edition did not come with all the content, by the way. Was $200. And it came with almost everything you would think the Hitman one came with, except all the DLC. But it came with a lot of bells and whistles. It was really cool. The one I'll pass to you. The Mortal Kombat 11
I want your
one
mic's opinion.
is $300. And it comes with a scorpion mask, which first of all, not the face of the Mortal Kombat career, so a falsity is right there. A coin, which by the way, Mortal Kombat characters have never gone out.
Dave has gone on like 5 different rants, and there's one little. He's like, there's like
So,
6, 7 different things.
My
he's
point is
attacking.
that it's the video game companies a la Activision for setting these absurd goals and then taking it out on the trenches
There
for
have
it.
been some really bad business practices that are finally starting to come back to roost. The microtransactions, loot boxes. My favorite thing that I saw today was that all Blizzard employees get this loot box that has an 8% chance of having a pink slip, but it makes trumpets and noise, and hey, just kind of going off on that whole thing.
Mike, your thought on all of it?
But Mike, I'll pass it to you in 30 seconds. But there's between microtransactions, not so much that, but like loot boxes and so many other things that are awful predatory practices, people are finally starting to turn against the publishers that are doing those.
I say that's pretty much. I think it has a lot to do with the microtransactions. I think in general, and I just think the quality of the games that Activision puts out just aren't that great anymore either.
I don't think I've
They don't
bought a
have
new Activision
anything
game in 10 years.
great that's come out that's sold really well or been like the talk of the gamer community. It's all just very average from them these days.
Yeah,
And so they didn't do awful, but they didn't do great. So like, is it 9%? That's not.
Activision
Let's say
bought one of
2%
my-
away from their mark. So.
When Activision bought Bizarre Creations, which made the Project Gotham racing games for Xbox, and then had them do
Let me
something that was
put
quite
it
the same,
this
and
way.
then canned them after one game, I was done with Activision. Activision was dead to me.
I think what's happening to the video game market is exactly what's happening with what's going on with the content in television and movies. There's so much of it, and all these companies that are making these games are now thinking that they should be making, what a Call of Duty game would have made back in the day, or what a Halo game would have made back in the day when it released. They're thinking there's so many of these companies with so many of these games, yet they want all of this money and think they're gonna all get it, but they just possibly can't because not everybody's going to buy every single game, and that's what's going on. There's so many companies, so many games, unattainable goals. I think we're agreeing with each other, as Boder would say, but we're just going to yell at each other.
I mean, I agree with what Boder and Tyler pretty much said. I think a lot of these companies for a while got greedy when it was beneficial to them, and now some of these new games that come out, that's kind of changed it, and now consumers are kind of like, we don't want to pay for your microtransaction. We don't want to pay $60 for a game and then have to pay another $10 for
That
that.
doesn't
Like,
have all the content.
you know, I think, and EA is a big person who did that with Star Wars and a lot, and I feel like all these guys that have put money in their pockets for years are now kind of getting what they deserve a little bit, you know. But I also agree with Tyler.
They're not yet getting what they deserve because they're taking it out on.
They're taking it out. They're taking it out on 800 people.
But I agree with what Tyler is saying in that in this landscape these days, you can't judge who watches a TV show anymore.
Yeah.
You can't judge because there's just so much stuff out there, and
you're not just going to GameStop and buying a physical copy of the game.
Phone games, you got Steam. There's just so much
Nintendo
different
Access
stuff. It's just a changing market.
And I will slightly recant my argument, and that I don't think that Fortnite is a big part of it, but it represents something that is one piece of the changing market. So
Looks like the Grinch.
And on that day, Dan's head grew 3 sizes larger.
That is one factor, perhaps.
Holy crap.
And seeing how we welcome Joe onto the set, all we do is yell. Do you have anything you want to add to it real quick?
Oh man, really quick, probably no. What I'll say is I have a little bit of a different perspective, only because we were talking about Blizzard, and so I'm in the at least for content creation, I'm in the trading card space, and so with Hearthstone being what it is and being as popular as it is, even Magic the Gathering has now come up with their own attempt at a counter to it in MTG Arena. But now what we're seeing, if you're talking about overextension and kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, there's been a lot of discussion in the Magic community recently of the fact that Wizards of the Coast seems to be putting everything into their digital space and kind of ignoring their paper space, which is very foolish in my opinion, and in the opinions of a lot of people like content creators and influencers in the community, because they're sitting there going, oh, we're throwing like $1 million at turning Magic the Gathering into an esport, and it's like, okay, but your product is still in beta, and you're throwing like $1 million at it and like ignoring a lot of your paper stuff, which is where a lot of your money was coming from. And a lot of your local game stores that sell the products.
It goes back to chasing growth. Like, Activision didn't see the growth it wanted. It keeps chasing. And in this case, what that is that Wizards is chasing new markets and letting their old markets kind of lie fallow, the people who've been with them forever. Same thing when Blizzard announced Diablo, whatever, on the phone. Yeah. They were chasing a new market, and their core market was like, what the F? What's this?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a much larger discussion, but that's the brief. Like, that's where I'm looking at it from, and it's troublesome to see that they're looking at it being like, oh, well, we can counter Hearthstone now with this, and it's like, you need to work at that before you abandon everything else thinking that this is going to work, because Wizards of the Coast for Magic the Gathering has gone into digital content multiple times in the past, and after 2 years of saying, this is the new game, this is the thing, they've completely scrapped it, and every dollar that people have put into it has gone away entirely, and people have said, like, the next thing that you come up with had better be good, because if it's not and I dump money into it and I lose, we're never trusting you again. And so if this ever goes away, they are screwed digitally, and that's a problem.
I just think everything these days are changing, and people, the landscape just keeps revolving, and that's the world, and that's how it works. Okay, we got to end up here.
One last thing I'm going to say. As a good note, as a good note on the story, the community of video game developers is really strong, and there's been a lot of studios out there saying, hey, have you been affected by this? Drop us your resume. We'd love to have you.
Wizards did that all day. A lot of Wizards of the Coast employees were doing that all over Twitter today. I saw
a bunch of Ubisoft studios. Again, a few voice actors that I know that have worked with Ubisoft. Stuff like that. So, again, as bad as it is with, EA or Activision being the devils that they are, the individual studios are doing a really good thing, doing a good turn, and trying to keep these guys, getting food on their table.
Oh, yeah.
This goes along with that old video. EA Sports, I want your job.
All right, we got to wrap up here. If you're watching us, thanks for watching us on Twitch. You can watch live episodes at Insane Video Games on Twitch, Facebook Live at Insane Games NY. You can also watch our full episodes all this week on YouTube at Behind the Counter. We have a lot of counter clips that have been going on, stuff that happens actually behind the counter during the week. We had a couple Mortal Kombat games. Dave, Mike, and I were doing some target practice with a Nerf gun. So it was kind of a snowy week, so we had some time to fool around. So make sure you follow us on Behind the Counter on YouTube. I want to thank Joe for coming on the set.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Joe and Amy,
Appreciate
you can follow them at Geek for All YT on Twitter or Geek for All on YouTube. He's going to be joining Dave next on the weekend Wednesday for, am I allowed to say it or no?
It's right here. I
Dynasty
already saw it.
Warriors, Niners, is that a secret? Well, it's not anymore.
It's not anymore. You said it. So at
But that's up
DAM314
That's
on
up
Twitch.
next on the weekend Wednesday at DAM314. Make sure you get tickets for Saratoga Comic Con,
one
April
factor crap.
27, 28.
Oh yeah, good
Who
point.
One Factor
Amp
Crap.
Slayer asked you one factor crap.
That's a good point.
No, it wasn't me.
Thank you, Amp Slayer. He would have been asking during the weekend Wednesday. He'd be like, all right, bro, who won? The winner was Joe.
There we go.
Beginner's luck.
Closely second by Tyler.
There you go, Tyler. I was acting as you at the
And
beginning
can
of it anyway, so there you go.
Before next week, can you please get your internet situated? Oh, come on, I'm trying my best over here.
I need a new router.
Here I am
Someone
yelling at our office manager, our operations manager, Tom, about better internet wiring, and it was you.
Of course it was him.
It has been me. My internet's slowly deteriorating over here. I pay all this money a month to have 120 megs per second, and I only get 20 megs. This is bullshit.
Oh.
It's an outrage, and I'm coming at Spectrum. They just opened right down the road. I'm gonna go in there guns blazing, not literally, but
Wow.
figuratively.
Wow.
So we gotta wrap up. Everyone do the call sign. I started last week.
Did you hit it?
Thank you for Tom.
I'll shoot Facebook.
Whoa!
Well, that's an iPad.
That one's gone. That one went up and over the wall.